Vivek is there, yeah? He's in a red, bright shirt.
Yeah, I saw him. I actually saw him.
Actually, I've got three back to back, so I'm ready for the evening.
Yeah, a very good afternoon, Vivek. I know you people have a lot of webinars, and surprisingly, we are attending a lot of webinars. And by the end of this entire period, probably we'll emerge out as more learned people.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I have started doing one very interesting thing, Vivek. Every day I watch at least 2 TEDx talks, and they are extremely, extremely valuable. So I think some teachers are already there. Neela ma'am is saying good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Neela ma'am. And good afternoon to every teacher over here on the discussion forum today. We'll start in another 30, I think another minute or so. It's 3:29 right now. So we'll start in a minute.
Yeah, sure.
So we're also live on YouTube with the link Kamal has sent. You can send it to your friends if they can't join on YouTube. I'll be back in just 10 seconds, please.
So, ma'am, where are you right now? You are in Karnal in the school home.
Yes, I'm in Karnal. Right now, I'm at home and still struggling with our parents a little.
Yes.
With this Karnataka order coming, and they don't want online classes. Parents are getting a little more jittery about online classes.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same with all institutions.
So what is the Karnataka order, ma'am? I missed this one.
Yeah, actually, they don't want online classes for children up to grade 5 because too much of exposure to the screen.
Right.
Some parent had put up a bill, and there will be discussions. Ultimately, they have to give in. But for now, there's a little scare that now we have to stop the classes for a while. So,
well, that's a tough one even for the students, because if they don't have a direction, students are students. So it's 3:30, and if Shalini ma'am and Vivek sir, you allow me, can we start?
Please.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, teachers. Good afternoon, Shalini ma'am, Vivek sir. Good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shalini University, Kasale Hills, Himachal Pradesh. We started Ideas That Matter, Vivek and I, with a thought of interacting with teachers and hopefully inspiring students along the way, and also get inspired ourselves. So a small movement that started, I think, in the garage, as they always say, has become a reasonably large movement now. We've covered around 47 schools. We've touched 30,000 students and around another 30,000 teachers across India. We've gone as wide as Calcutta, and of course, our focus has been Haryana and Punjab and Himachal and J&K. So thank you very much, teachers, for being here. The topic for today is going to be best practices and online learning, and who better than Vivek to address that? Vivek, as you all know, is a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, and I think he is very, very active on the webinar front right now, pretty much doing 2 to 3 webinars every day and improving by the day, Vivek. He's got more than 2 million views on his different talks. So welcome, Vivek. What I love, Vivek and I are dear friends, and he's also a professor of eminence at Shalini University. So thank you, Vivek, for this. A quick introduction to me. I'm Atul Khosla, founder and pro-vice chancellor of Shalini University. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur, and I then did my MBA from a school called Jamnalal Bajaj. 20 years in the industry across different countries when the teaching bug hit me, and never been more excited to be a teacher. I've been flirting with technology for the last 6 to 7 years, and my belief is that at least in the higher education world, technology is going to change the way we teach. I think it's going to even happen in the primary education world, but very differently. I think we're still in very, very early stages of online. We're all learning how to teach online or learn online, but the revolution has started. I think with these words, I once again welcome all of you, and I'll request Shalini ma'am to speak to us for a minute or so before we hand it over to our very charismatic Vivek Atray. Shalini ma'am, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a great opportunity for all of us to listen to Vivek again. I must tell you, Vivek, that it has been a great experience for us listening to you. At least for me, I searched you on TEDx later after listening in the webinar. And Atul, I must tell you, you're a great motivator. Thank you so much. And of
Thank you,
course,
ma'am.
Shikha, she has been there always. And let's rock on.
Let's talk on. I seldom talk about Shikha and Kamal, so thank you, ma'am. I know you're very empathetic, so you've hit the nail on the head. So thank you, Shikha. Thank you, Kamal, also for making all this happen. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you very much, Atul, and it's a pleasure once again to be speaking to you, ma'am, and your colleagues. It's wonderful to see more than 75 teachers already there on Zoom, and I'm sure some must be joining on YouTube also. And it's a great fact that we are able to connect through technology. Already, I think I have spoken and Atul has spoken to your colleagues from other schools of the Vyal Singh Public School family. And it's lovely to be speaking to you today. We have a great topic on online teaching and online presence. So as Atul Khosla always says, let me start by telling you my own experience of speaking to a camera. Right now also I'm sitting in a room alone and speaking to the screen, and that is how all of you feel when you are teaching on a screen, teaching students at the other end of the camera. So it is different from being in a classroom or a gathering, and we have all to change and adapt. However, I am quite confident that all of you will go back to teaching in a school very soon, in a few weeks, and it will be quite good to be back to school and back to your classroom and mixing with the students. Let's not be scared of the weeks to come, the months to come. Only when things are appropriate and it is appropriate and healthy for us to go back, we will go back. But it will happen, and I'm quite confident of that. But I'm also sure that we will continue to have some online programs and online classes. You are aware of what is blended learning. Blended learning is obviously classroom learning as well as online learning together. Even during the last 10 years or so, or 15 years, gradually schools were introducing multimedia and online programs, some amount of internet exposure, and maybe even recorded lectures. Now it has to be accelerated, but let us blend the classroom with the online teaching once we are back to school. And this online teaching is something that you are finding difficult, I know, because all the teachers we have spoken to in the previous many weeks, where Atul and I have done about 46, 47 webinars along with Kamal and Shikha. They have done a fabulous job of putting it together. So let me tell you that a few things you have to keep in mind. Firstly, just be yourself. Don't try to change your personality when you are on camera. Just be natural as you are in class. It is different. Of course, you are facing an image on the screen instead of facing people, or you're facing a few images. But just be yourself. Being tense or being uptight or being jittery or being uncomfortable is going to make you feel and look a little different from what you are in school. So the first thing to do is to be yourself, to be comfortable. And of course, there are problems with technology at times. There may be a bad connection. There may be a disconnection. There may be a voice problem, video problem. There may be students who are not switching off their audios. So to talk about the little technicalities, it is very important for you to switch off everybody's mic as far as possible as the controller of the host of the program. And it is also important for you to speak in a manner which is loud and clear. Once you are speaking in a loud and clear manner, everybody will pay attention. If they are not paying attention, it is because the session is not interactive enough. So if you find that children are not paying attention, or they are not even there once the class starts, you can ask them by name. One of the tricks is to ask them by name. Okay, Abhishek, tell me this. Okay, Nana, tell me this. So that will make them all alert. They know that ma'am or sir will ask by name, and then they have to respond. Another way is to keep their audio off but video on. And we do that in our meditation circles, because meditation happens online and group meditation, where people are encouraged to keep their video on and audio off. When the video is on, then most people are conscious and they are sure that somebody is watching. It is also possible that the parents, the neighbors, the uncle, the auntie, the small boy, brother, sister may also join the class at their home. And that also happens. So the teacher is not only talking to the student, the teacher is talking to the family and the neighborhood. So it becomes a test for you. It is a challenge, no doubt. However, you have to try and understand that you do your best. There's nothing more you can do. If you do your best, which you are always trying to do, then you will be fine. And people, whoever are watching you, they don't matter as much as the student matters. The parents and the students do matter. So if you are loud and clear, if you are methodical in your teaching as you are in the classroom, if you are cheerful and smiling, and also maybe telling some stories. So when I deliver TEDx talks, I have 8 TEDx talks and I have 3 Josh talks, and they are all available on YouTube. And Atul was mentioning in the morning, I have 2 million views on YouTube, 20 lakh. So when I am there and you watch my videos, if you go to YouTube, you will find the best thing I try to do is to stay relaxed. If I am jittery, if I am restless, if I am uncomfortable, or if I come at the last minute, supposing this class is at 3:30 and I come at 3:30 or I come at 3:28, then I'm late. And it has happened that I'm late a couple of times, but I need to come early to be comfortable. And once I'm there, I have checked my light, I have checked my room, I have checked my cable of the laptop or phone charger, whatever it is. I have to be comfortable in my zone. Only then I will be able to deliver the performance, which is the classroom teaching. So it is like a performance, but you have to be natural and be yourself. That is the main thing. Nobody is going to share this viral into YouTube, etc. And 10 lakh people are not going to watch your class. It is only going to be 30, 40 students. Maybe some more people might watch it, but that is all. So don't think that you are suddenly on national television and you have to be at your very best of your life. It's not like that. Just be like you are in the classroom and try and speak in a manner which is comfortable, which is clear. Another thing to do is to keep your body language positive. So use your hands if you have to, use your smile if you have to, and try and keep your camera at a distance which is comfortable. It should not be too close. Even the best looking people, good looking people will start looking bad if their face is right into the screen, and nobody will look good. If you are too far, then also you are not visible, not audible. So it is more important to keep the right distance and keep the phone or the camera or the laptop on a stable table, on a surface which is not moving around, not in your hand. Fix it somewhere, keep some books and rest it over there. Practice. Practice will make you absolutely better at your work. So make sure that you have practiced before the camera. Make sure that you record your voice to see how you are speaking. Get feedback from your spouse, from your sister, brother, mother, daughter, whoever, son, and see where you can improve. And once you have got into the group, once you have settled down, then there's no problem over there. So be a speaker as if you are in the class, even though you are not in the class. So on camera teaching or online teaching is about being aware of your circumstances, aware that people are watching you, even if you can't see them, and aware that you are aware of the technology. So let's not be scared of the technology. It's not that difficult. When you learn to ride a scooter, so many things are to be done. You have to make sure the fuel is there. You have to make sure your key is properly put away. You have to make sure that the scooter is balanced when you're driving. You have to make sure it's clean. You have to make sure your light is on or off. It is a multi-dimensional task. When you are into an online classroom, there are 4 or 5 things to learn, and it's the same thing. So make sure your connection is good. Make sure that you are able to sit in a place where the light is good. Make sure your distance is good, and make sure you are comfortable before the classroom starts, before the class begins. Your structure, your content, your syllabus has to be clear. Your notes have to be clear. And then you teach in a way that, so some teachers will find it easy and some teachers will find it difficult, but gradually, on and on, if you keep on keeping on, you will get better and better and better. I think these are the tips. One more tip I can give you lastly before leaving for Atul to take over is that you have to speak in a manner that is, people will remember that you spoke something, and not only the content, but the way you spoke. So your delivery, your style, your cheerfulness, your personality, all have to be positive and glowing if possible. I find that a bit of meditation helps me even before the class or in the morning or evening. If you meditate, you'll find that you are much better at your classroom teaching or anything throughout the day. All challenges can be faced. So thank you for listening, and I'll be back with some Q&A later. Over to you, Atul, for sharing your presentation and your ideas.
Thank you, Vivek. As I was listening to you, I was wondering, you've already sort of spoken most of the stuff I was supposed to speak. That's what happens when one is speaking a second. So I thought I'm going to tease all of you. I'm going to tease all of you because most of you are in either Chandigarh or Karnal or other parts of the plains. And I happen to be very lucky sitting in the lap of the Himalayas. And it's right now raining 20 degrees Celsius. The fan is off and the sweaters are on. So in the context of that, I thought I'll play a small video just showing you where the environment that I'm sitting in. So let me do that and then I'll get into my presentation. So if you allow me, Vivek.
Please.
Okay, here we go. So thank you, everyone. I hope I made you jealous enough, but that's where I am right now, and I can see the stream that you saw right below my room. That's Shalini University for you. So we started our journey of online around 6 to 7 years ago, and we called it e-University. And the belief was very simple. The belief was that the world is going to move into blended learning. The world is going to move into a combination of online and of offline learning in the classroom. And it's very, very relevant, especially for senior classes and especially in higher education. You're seeing that happening in school with Baiju becoming so popular. And this trend is only going to continue. So what I'm going to do today would be share with you very quickly, probably 7 to 8 charts of a presentation I put together on my learnings of what should teachers do to become great online teachers, or how to go about learning and making sure that you are able to engage your students in a way better way. Vivek, if you allow me, I'm going to put up a presentation again. It's a small little presentation, like I said, just about 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I would actually do it in 5 to 8 minutes. Can I?
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So there were, the way I built my presentation is actually stories about 4 or 5 people I worked with. And some of these, of course, have been in the offline world, in the classroom world, in the world where I come from. And I've just sort of interwoven them so that hopefully you'll go back with some learning about how to become better teachers, better human beings in this new online world. The more important thing I'd like to say is that the online world is real. It's going to be there, whether we like it or not. It's going to continue, and hopefully for the better of humankind. I'd also like to add over here that you're all Corona warriors. You've adopted online in an absolutely wonderful way. Not a single day of teaching has been lost. You've made sure that your students are inspired. You've made sure that people are learning. And I know that if that had not happened, there would have been anarchy in the country, anarchy in the world. So congratulations, teachers, for making it happen. By the way, the picture that you see over here, I took it from my bedroom in the morning today. So that's the place where I live. So I'm going to take you through 5 stories about effective learning, online learning. And like I said, these are my stories. Some of them will be a bit of a repeat with what Vivek said, but I'll just go through them very quickly. And I'm going to put them around 5 exceptional people I worked with. So teachers, you need to realize that the world that you're seeing, which you call online or remote, happened in the corporate world 25 to 30 years ago. We moved from real conferences or real meetings to what we used to call video conferences or video meetings. It was not easy because we were not used to talking to a camera, but we got used to it. And there was a time where 70 to 80% of our meetings actually started happening over the camera. The first boss was a guy called Ranjit Pandit, an extremely charismatic guy. And he would say something very interesting. Ranjit, as he was guiding us to become great consultants, great communicators, the first thing he taught us was invest in your toolkit. And the example he would give was a carpenter. A great carpenter has got a great set of tools in his toolkit. The carpenter buys them because the carpenter knows that if he doesn't have a good saw or he doesn't have a good randa, then the quality of his work will suffer. And that's true for all of us teachers today. Our toolkit has to change. It has to go beyond the chalk and the pen that we've used in the past. It will have to go online. So what do we need to start with? There are 6 things I want to talk about. We need some hardware. We need some software in the hardware. We need a place to sit. We need some connectivity. We need collaboration tools, and I'll go through each one of them. It's very, very important, teachers, that if you seek to become great online teachers, you invest in all of these 6 things that I'm speaking about. The first is hardware. Now remember, however good your phone is, it's not a good tool for online teaching. You will always have disruptions as far as the phone is concerned. So you need a laptop at a minimum to make it happen. You need a laptop with a good processor, which has a good amount of storage space, the right set of softwares, and the right accessories. So what do you need? 4 things. At least a 5th generation i3 computer, which I'm sure all of you have. If you don't have, I'll encourage you to figure out financing and get it. This computer should have at least 3 to 4 GB RAM. I'm sure you know what that means. You need some storage capacity on the computer. So you'll be keeping your video files to show to your students. You'll be keeping some other open education resources to showing to your students. So 100 to 200 GB at least will be needed for this type of work. You'll need software. So please make sure that original software is there. Most schools will actually have collaborations with Microsoft. Check it out with your school. They already might have a tie-up with Microsoft for free Office 365. Just check that out. But you need antivirus. You need VLC players to play videos because you'll be showing them to your students. You need the right Adobe Flash players, etc., etc., etc. And I can share this presentation to all of you. So Shikha, please take it from me and you can then send it over. The last thing is, of course, accessories. So invest in your headset. Very, very important. If you're not using a quality headset, you'll have challenges. Invest in the computer should have the right set of USB ports. Your video camera, your webcam, minimum 2 megapixel in terms of resolution that it has. So these are a few things that you should invest in. If the school still doesn't give it to you, I would request all teachers to actually invest in it. Like I said, this is your toolkit. This is something that is going to be important for you going forward. The place where you sit, your cubicle, becomes very, very important. I've seen video lectures happening. I've seen online lectures happening where the dog is barking in the background. And I was joking in my last lecture that, one of my colleagues, I was having a chat with her. Just imagine she's quite junior. Suddenly her mother-in-law came in and started scolding her for some not very good quality lunch that she'd made. This could be very, very embarrassing. It was embarrassing for me a little because I was caught in between them. It was embarrassing for her, embarrassing for everyone around. So make sure that you have a dedicated place. It cannot be a bed. Make sure you have a proper desk. Now, I know you wouldn't have proper offices. None of us have studies inside Indian homes. But what you can do is you can put a small poster outside your bedroom or outside your home. Actually, that's what I do, which says that at home, on work, please do not disturb. Can be done. You'll have to figure out how to keep your children, of course, in check because children are children and they'll always be out there not understanding how critical it is when you're taking the lectures. Set a schedule, get up at 7 in the morning like you always did, wear your best clothes, sit in front of the camera when you're giving an online lecture with your best foot forward. And mind you, please close your shop, please close your work at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock the way you would do every day. Do not extend work till 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You need work-life balance. Talking to a computer is very, very tiring. Trust me, this is my third webinar of the day and I'm completely exhausted. So if it takes 2 hours to tire you in a classroom, it's like 20 minutes to me speaking to the web. So again, please maintain your work-life balance. And finally, invest in basic stuff, a good chair. You're going to be sitting in a chair if you're doing 6, 7, let's say classes. Invest in the chair that you're going to sit on, invest in the desk, invest in the lighting, etc. Very, very important. The next is connectivity. A lot of us use Wi-Fi or use our mobile for connection. Doesn't work, teachers. You need a landline, you need fiber. It's available, I'm sure it's available in Karnal. Get that over. It's not very expensive anymore, and you can use it in the evenings for Netflix. Beautiful programs on Netflix. So do that. Collaboration tools are critical, which I think your school has to invest in. So there are different tools available. I'm sure you're using Zoom, but at different times you'll be using different tools, whether it's a WebEx or a Zoom or a Dropbox or a Google Drive, OneDrive or other platforms. Make sure all these are downloaded in advance because when you're starting a lecture or you're receiving a lecture, you don't want to be downloading at the last moment. So make sure that all the collaboration tools are there, which you'll use from a work from home environment. So that was really on technology, basic stuff. I think the second learning I had from a very dear friend of mine, Todd Furness, who became my second boss, and he would say, wherever you are, you always need to be the best in terms of the way you dress. And I think that's so very true. Vivek also said that if you're speaking to a camera, you probably need to be even better dressed. The nana, nani, dadu, dadi, neighborhood might be looking at you. So just dress the way you normally do. My mother has been a teacher, my nana was a teacher, and I know how well they would dress every morning to go to class. So do that in front of the computer too, teachers. You'll feel good and your students will feel good. Third was a great guy I worked with, Tom Peters. He wrote a very famous best-selling book called In Search of Excellence. This was at McKinsey and Company in New York. And what he told me was, your office needs to be a convenient space. So it needs to be a quiet space. And that's very important when you're working from home, when you're doing online lectures. Like I said, please make sure it's convenient and invest in that. Make sure that you put all the things needed to ensure that it's quiet. Get heavy curtains, dark curtains to make sure the lighting is proper. Simple investments. It's not about money, but it's just about making sure that the right environment is there. Vivek spoke about this, meditation. Paramhansa Yogananda ji is both Vivek and my guru. And Paramhansa ji said, be actively calm and calmly active. It's so very important, much more important in the online world. There's so much distraction, there's so much stress. I would strongly encourage all of you to practice meditation. Vivek will speak about this after I close, but meditation will be very, very important for all of you. And finally, practice. I'll tell a very quick story about me. I couldn't speak a word of English when I went to IIT Kanpur. I had trouble in my very first job. I would stammer. My boss almost fired me. He called me and said, Atul, we will have to fire you because you do not speak well. I had the courage to ask for time. And his parting words were, I do not see you succeed in consulting for more than 2 years. I succeeded in consulting for more than 20 years. My last job was the India CEO of a very large consulting firm, Oliver Wyman, where I was also on the global board. So what did I do? I spent the next 7 years after that feedback speaking to a camera every day. I bought a webcam in those days, a handycam actually, and I would speak to the camera 7 to 8 in the morning every day on some topic or the other. And I learned how to speak. I'm not the best, but I know I can do a reasonably good job on that. So that's really, I think, stuff that I've learned. It's basic common sense, invest in a toolkit, look smart, have a great office so that you feel excited about it, going to work, maintain your work-life balance, meditate, and practice. And finally, my mentor, Steve Jobs, he would say, be crazy, experiment, go out and do things that no one else does. Remember, all that I'm talking about is based on a few years of experience. But no one knows how the world of online education is going to become in the next 10 years. We're still learning. So become crazy. Small video about Steve Jobs and what he would say, and then I will close.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Thank you. My last thoughts, parting thoughts are going to be crazy, be inspirational, do exciting stuff that you always wanted to do. You're all going to be actors in front of the camera. I'm loving it, and so is Vivek. Start loving speaking to the camera. You'll do amazingly well. You guys are already doing amazingly well. You're all Corona warriors, like I said. So let's take it to the next level. Let's bring collaboration into our work. Let's experiment by creating communities, classrooms with the students. And this will become fun and way, way, way superior than just pure classroom work. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you, Atul. Very inspiring presentation. Very good points to learn for all of us. And not only for online teaching, but generally in life, these are very important assets to have. I am going to talk about one more very important point, which we have touched upon a little bit, which is calmness. Calmness in your personality. You see, people are worried and scared nowadays because of the pandemic. They may be worried and scared because of some other reason. But to be a calm personality is to be a very magnetic personality. Those who are very calm and collected before the camera, even otherwise in life, are inspiring people. So losing your temper or being irritable or being short-tempered is not really going to win you many friends. And friends is not important, but the point is that you yourself will feel much better if you are stable in your conduct and behavior. If your mind is not very ruffled and restless, if you're largely calm. So I speak a lot on emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is something which is our friend. We are able to understand our situation. We are able to speak according to the public or gathering we are in, the company we are in. We have empathy for others. So these are really plus points if you want, and these plus points will help you. After many years, teachers become a little demotivated, and during this crisis also, they must have lost a bit of motivation. So try and motivate yourself a lot by reading books, by watching videos, by making some time to meditate, by reading, by sports, by exercise, and talking to old friends, maybe, and whatever makes you happy. So teachers need to find a little bit of time for themselves, and half an hour, even if you find, read some books. A little while ago, I was reading this book. It is called, it's reverse in your camera, but it's called Manifesting Divine Consciousness in Daily Life. This is also by a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. The autobiography of a yogi is the main book that he wrote. So let us try to be calm. And Atul quoted Yogananda ji by saying, be calmly active and actively calm. That is the best quote I've ever heard. I mean, calmly active. Active bhi hona hai and calm bhi hona hai. That means we balance our lives and we are trying to be energetic, but we are not disturbed in our mind. Of course, we are human. At times we can slip. At times we can fail to stay calm. But once in a while, once in a blue moon, once in a month maybe, not more than that. So that's very important to know. I think we have about 10 minutes to go. So if there are any questions, we can take those, Atul.
Absolutely. I'll also request Shalini ma'am to join us and would love to answer any questions that the audience has. We've got one from Ambika ma'am, Vivek, and Shalini ma'am, if you're there, we'd love to have you online. The question is that she's asking that, elders are willingly sitting in lectures, and that's okay. Children and troublemakers find it very difficult to sit and engage online. What do we do with that? I think it's related to both younger children and also troublemakers. So I think this is an obvious question that comes a lot. What do you think, Vivek? What would you do?
Yeah, I think you're right. When you are online, then obviously there are going to be elders, there are going to be others, and they are not required over there. And the teacher is suddenly speaking not only to the students but to others. So you can basically, the school has to send out a note to the parents that please ensure that either the parent is there or no extra people are there, but they don't listen at times. There will be extra people. You have to keep on doing your job, and you have to keep speaking confidently and calmly, and keep their cameras on but their phones off. I mean their audio off. Then the trouble they create is not going to be disturbing you. I mean, unless they are dancing in front of the camera, what kind of trouble will they create if their audio is off? So you try not to let them speak one by one. You have to unmute them, talk to the student, and mute. You have to become very smart at that kind of thing, and then troublemakers will be handled.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we experiment, Vivek, is also assessments along with the lectures, which I'm sure you guys are also doing. Also project work, increasing asynchronous learning. What I've also learned, teacher Shalini ma'am, is that, and it's actually a lot of research done in this, is that if it's a 40-minute normal class that you have, online don't have more than 15 to 20 minutes, because the human brain does not absorb or cannot absorb knowledge from the screen for more than 20 minutes. It's still a lot of monologue which is happening. It's the interaction, the collaboration that you have typically in a classroom is not possible on this medium at the moment. So restructure your pedagogy, give much more focus on asynchronous, which is project work, which I'm sure you guys are doing. Add assessments, add quizzes after every 10 minutes, which we do, which then go towards, add up towards the overall assessment of the student. So these are also ways to sort of engage the students. I'm sure you're sort of engaging with some of these. I think I will again reiterate the use of the right technology. It's very, very important that you are up the curve as a school and as a teacher on technology, the right platform that you use, because what we're doing right now on Zoom is still very, very rudimentary, and there are better tools than this. The proctoring tools for examinations, for example, you can use AI and proctoring tools to ensure that if you're doing examinations, students are not teaching. Of course, the best way, Vivek, is that your examinations are such that they can't cheat if you're asking them to create something. If you're asking them, if the questions are such that it's open book, then anyway, cheating can't happen. So I think these are all type of things that we'll have to include. I don't know, Shalini ma'am, you want to quickly add to this? You've got so much experience yourself.
I would just like to say that my emphasis otherwise also is that don't go into too much of teaching. Ask them to do it on their own. We have taught them. Ask them to read. Ask them to solve. Give them little. Don't give them too much. The basic idea is this. For me, personally, I believe this is better than the classroom. Because classroom, they tend to disturb you too much. And when you are there, you can keep them on mute. And when you have to listen to them, at times you'll have to listen to their parents, their grandparents. You will have to be. Now they have come in our classroom. We can't help it. But the idea of online teaching today is not too much. Yes, we have to upgrade ourselves to better versions.
Absolutely. I think there's a question around, Ambika ma'am is asking, can you share those tools? So I've just written, so you need something called a learning management system or an LMS, which is integrated into either a Zoom or any other video platform, which is then integrated into an assessment tool so that it's a pass-through. Happy to help on this one, happy to share what we are doing. We are very sophisticated on technology. We've been working for 5-6 years on this. So the more integrated platforms you have, the better it is. But you know, the way you're doing it on Zoom, that can, right? So some people are, I mean, again, we don't need to be constrained by technology. For example, Vivek, I know what you might also be doing. You can do on WhatsApp. You can send the questions, and students can. You can ask the parents, for example, to become invigilators and make sure that the students are not sort of cheating. On the video on-off thing,
we are actually doing it.
Absolutely, I'm sure, Shalini ma'am.
We are taking parents' help. We are telling them that morally we have to make children correct. So you do what we do. Be invigilators for them. We are doing, but we are working with paid Google platforms and Microsoft also, because schools are suffering on the fee budget.
That's everywhere, ma'am. I can tell you, I run a university. We are even worse off. So we'll talk about the whole situation later. We completely understand. It's a very tough situation for all of us. We are working harder, but we are paid 50% of what we earn.
But the idea is like we have actually to think out of the box.
Absolutely.
For online.
Absolutely. Just go and experiment. I think that's what I tell my teachers. Every day, do something new, something different. Vivek and I have been talking, and we are saying that we'll be taking lectures standing. So Vivek, you might have to leave. I think you've got a hard stop and one or two.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for listening. I've got another webinar, so I'll leave. And all the teachers, please stay connected, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, we can continue, Shalini ma'am. Vivek, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always lovely talking to you. Thank you. So I'll pick up a few questions. I think we've got 5-7 minutes, Shalini ma'am, and there's a question from Anjana ma'am here. She's saying, what do we do with students who keep their video off? Anjana ma'am, the way I solve it is by not giving this option to students. It cannot be an option for students to switch their video off. Let me tell you, it's not just students. I've got 300 faculty members, and when I do my faculty meeting, lots and lots of faculty members, or teachers switch off their videos. So it's to me, the rule is very simple. If your videos are off, you'll be marked absent, as plain simple as that, because we don't know what they're doing. So I think we need a little bit of stick over here, but typically carrots work better online. At least that's my learning. I don't know, Shalini ma'am, are you there? How would you solve this?
I have muted. The same reply. I don't like even people who give webinars who keep their cameras off. You have to be attentive, and your attendance is marked only when you are there on the camera. Your mic should be off. Your microphone should be off. But cameras, yes, they should be there. Even I would feel bad. If I am doing a webinar, I am the speaker, I'll feel bad if the cameras are off. I have seen many people keeping their cameras off and asking questions. That's actually very rude.
So I'm doing an experiment, which is it's an experiment happening at MIT Media Labs, where we are saying when we're doing a meeting, we will not allow even the mic to be muted. So it is very, very difficult. But I always go, and I'm doing this experiment with my faculty, but I say, you can't keep your video off, you can't keep your mic off, but there's some noise always coming. And I tell them that, look, if for my 20-minute meeting, you cannot keep your mic off, cannot be in a quiet zone, how do I know that you're in a quiet zone for your lectures or your classes that you're doing? So I think it's about discipline, a lot of discipline, Shalini ma'am. We just have to learn, it's culture. So we have to learn how to
be
in the new world.
And your working hours, no, you have to keep in mind that these are my working hours. That time you have not to be disturbed. You have to keep that in mind, and you have to tell that should flow in the students also, no? That this is your school timing. You should keep your videos on. You have to talk to the teacher. Probably she wants to have an answer from you. So this culture has to come in everybody.
And it is coming in. I don't know how it is in your school, ma'am, but in our university, for example, and we just ended up our semester exams. We just closed the semester. We took our final exams online. Our attendance levels went up from 73.2% to 92.5% from offline to online. So this is, in fact, the feedback from at least university students is very, very positive. I'd love to hear. I think junior students would find it difficult, but senior students probably are more attuned to online.
See, they are on their own. The senior children are on their own. Our 9th to 12th is better than the middle school and the primary school. But the way they are up, I think as a principal, I'm very satisfied. The way the parents are helping, the way the students, a few of them are like that. We have to pull them out.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask one question to you, which has always intrigued me, and I think your teachers would also love to hear. Teachers are actually going through a lot of stress, Shalini ma'am. Many of them, of course, are ladies, and they are daughters and mothers and wives and housewives, of course, and everyone is at home or mainly at home. They have to juggle work with all their homely responsibilities. Lots of stress. So how do you manage that stress? Tell me. I'm so intrigued.
See, Atul, we have all been through it, and what I do, I always tell them to do. If you ask them, they'll be able to tell you better. Any one of them, probably you ask them, what do I do? They know, because I suggest the same to them. Ask any one of them.
So what do you do?
You can unmute anyone. Unmute anyone, and you can.
We can't unmute here because this is a webinar, okay. So I can't unmute anyone on this. But they can always give comments. Would love to hear your comments on how do you manage your life.
I myself, I am into yoga and meditation. I go for walks. I bicycle a lot when I'm stressed. I eat when I'm stressed, and I
Okay.
enjoy food and it brings down my level, but of course not too much. And besides, I tell all of them to take good care of themselves. I tell them to adhere to the schedule of the school. If it's 7:30 to 1:30, you have to finish it off there. Of course, they have a lot of queries from the students in the evening and also from the parents. But I have asked them to at least live for themselves at least 1 hour of the day. So I think that is helping all of us. All of
You've got lots
us.
of fans. I think lots of teachers are saying that
No, they
you're
are not
great.
fans.
So
Today, Atul, today morning I put up my holiday photograph like for
okay.
5 years back, and I asked all of them to send their hill station holiday photographs, and we had quite an exciting day. Till four
Lovely.
o'clock in the evening, I was still getting photographs that, ma'am, this was my hill holiday. So that's why we are envious of you sitting over there.
No, when Corona gets over, all of you are welcome to Shalini. We also have a resort and a small hotel, a 4-star hotel at our campus.
Oh,
So
that's
you're all
wow.
welcome, and we'd love to host you, and of course come and visit your
Of
school also,
course,
ma'am.
we would love to come. We'll love to come. And
So
I must tell you, Atul, it has been a great learning, both the webinars. And I'm so happy that the way I'm thinking and the way we are progressing are so much in sync with what uh, you people even think. So it has been a great experience. Thank you.
thank you. I think it's time to end, unless there are any other questions. I have only one last thought for all of you, and this is something I picked up from a webinar, actually not a webinar, but a small discussion I had with some professors from the US, MIT, and Harvard. And what they were talking about is the biggest challenge of the online world is the lack of community building. When they're talking about community, they're talking about communities that we build inside the classroom among students, student to student discussion, communities that we build typically with parents when we talk to them, communities that we build with the neighborhood, and communities that we build amongst ourselves as teachers. So I think that's an effort that all of us also have to do, which is how do we engage our parents to form that parent-teacher community? How do we engage student to student? How do we get that engagement with the students? How do we ensure that we don't lose the feel of community as teachers, which can happen? We're all sitting in different locations. So can we have fun stuff? I think the type of stuff you're talking about, Shalini ma'am, sharing pictures. So this was pretty much out of the blue to me. I never thought about it that way. And I think it's very, very helpful if all of us continue to be connected with each other. So all
Of
of you are now
course.
part of.
And for on that, even that idea that social distancing, I have told everybody we have to practice physical distancing and not social distancing, please.
So beautifully
Socially we
said.
should be connected because that is the strength of India, right? We have to be socially connected, but yes, physical distancing we have to prefer till this corona actually dies away.
So beautifully said, ma'am. So, before I close, I always ask my fellow panelists to speak just one line. You're only allowed to speak one line as your last thoughts.
uh, I would just say it's nice knowing Shalini and you, Atul. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalini ma'am. You make me blush. Thank you, teachers. My parting thoughts would be happy. Successful people need not be happy, but happy people are successful. So be happy, be safe. We owe this to our children and we owe this to our parents. So don't go out into the market too much. Corona is there to stay for a while. Don't have a sense of safety at this juncture. It's actually expanding quite rapidly. So be safe and be happy. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, teachers. Amazing talking to all of you, and meet in real very soon. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Same to you.